quote Christopher Luxon last year, "Every minute counts in the battle against cancer." He said that on the 21st of August last year at the Southern Cross Hospital at Gillies Ave in Auckland. And he was opposition leader at the time. He was announcing National's pledge to fund 13 new cancer treatments. Now I want to play you exactly what he said that day.
There are 13 cancer treatments for lung cancer, bowel cancer, kidney cancer and head and neck cancer that provide substantial clinical benefit and are funded in Australia but not here in New Zealand. And so New Zealanders suffering from these cancers who have exhausted available treatments here in New Zealand currently face a really bleak choice. And that choice is either to give up, or it's to head up overseas, or to mortgage their home, or try and raise a significant amount of money from friends and family to fund the treatment themselves. And we want all cancer patients here in New Zealand to be armed with hope and positivity as they go through this battle against this terrible disease. Not helplessness, not frustration and not desperation. National wants these New Zealanders to stay in New Zealand and to fight their cancer with the full support of a world-class health system. And every minute counts in the battle against cancer, and we want Kiwis to have access to better treatments here at home to give more of them the chance to beat cancer and to get back to their normal lives. And that's why today we're announcing that National will invest $280 million over 4 years to fund the 13 cancer treatments the New Zealand Cancer Control Agency says provide substantial clinical benefit that are funded in Australia but not here in New Zealand.
Well, that promise appears to have been broken. It was not in last week's budget, and it's prompted 15 cancer charities to write to the Prime Minister an open letter urging him to follow through. So, will he? We've got him in studio now with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for coming in. Now, words matter in your job, and watching that back, what you said, do you realise why people are so brassed off?
Yeah, look, I understand why people are frustrated, and I certainly understand what people are going through. You know, just this weekend I met with a young guy who actually was diagnosed with brain cancer just a few months back. So I know what it means for people who are suffering with cancer to get those treatments. We remain committed to getting those treatments. It's a promise we are going to deliver on. But the reality is there's quite a lot for us to work through with respect to how we actually do the procurement, and there's a number of options and things that we have to consider around how to do that. The other thing that happened for us in this particular budget was that we hadn't planned on having to find $1.8 billion to do the Pharmac drug program, the core program that Labor had not funded beyond a period of time. So that was our major focus in this budget, was to fix up the core Pharmac funding. But I can reassure you, we are working our way. Work is already underway, looking at a series of options of how we deliver those cancer treatments we want to be able to bring to New Zealanders, and that work will continue. We'll have more to say about that shortly.
So what is the hold-up? Is it the money or is it the procurement?
It's actually the process by which you go through the procurement. I think from memory, I think a few of those drugs are actually not officially registered yet, so that needs to happen. But we've got to work out how we move through that process quickly, and we've been thinking a lot about actually in general how we get MedSafe registering drugs faster. There's just a whole bunch of thinking around how we procure through Pharmac, and so it is taking a little bit more time than we wanted to do. As I said, we did have the surprise, the nasty surprise, I think, in the budget of dealing with the Pharmac core funding, which we hadn't anticipated that we would have to do because it wasn't referenced before the election in the way that it was presented to us, and importantly we are going to do that work. We remain, as you've seen, we've made cancer treatment one of our top 5 health goals. You know, we want 90% of people getting cancer treatment within 31 days. We've already done investments around expanding screening for breast cancer out to 74. We've put LINAC machines, PET scanners, infusion services. We've continued to do really good work in that space. There's 2 drugs that have actually been approved, one for breast cancer, one for leukemia. There's a 3rd one out for consultation. But look, I get it, but just rest assured, there is deep work underway that we've been working our way through a number of options about how we deliver on that commitment.
And I think most New Zealanders would understand that you're annoyed that Labor left you a $1.7 billion fiscal cliff for Pharmac, right? They didn't have that funding.
Yeah, $1.8 billion. Yeah.
But this is something that you can't really blame on Labor now, because this is this is your policy right here, and it's fully funded. You've got all of the technical names of all these different therapies and treatments, and it starts in budget year 2024-2025. off. Did you just rush this out without realising you could deliver it last year?
No. What genuinely happened for us, as you saw through the course of since taking on, coming to power, was that we had a number of what were called fiscal cliffs or bombs that were set up financially. One of those was in the Farm Act budget. That was a total surprise. We did not plan on having to find what ended up being an extra $1 billion just to make sure that Kiwis could keep their drugs. That would have been worse, Lloyd, not to have funded that and not to have found the money to be able to do that. But having said this is a commitment, and we're going to deliver on that commitment. We're very clear about that. There's just some complexity, and yes, it's taking a little bit more time as we work out how to get the process working in a way that actually means that we can do it in a sustainable, enduring way.
So it's not money then? You're talking about how it's Labour's fault for the fiscal cliffs, and there were lots of them.
Our real issue here is just working out the process behind the scenes of actually how to do this in the most effective, efficient way we can.
So you're telling us that you will find the money to do this. It's just going to take a little longer than you thought.
Yep, and that's but I can tell you we've already been working on these options for a couple of months. There's been a number of discussions that have taken place about how best to work our way through it. We'll continue that work at pace, and as soon as we have a process to go forward with, we'll come out and make that announcement.
Because you realise why it's resonating with so many people at the moment, why they're annoyed. Because, just going through all of some of the stuff that you guys tweeted out during that time was Kiwis on national funding 13 new cancer treatments. Excellent. You have my vote. I'm a swing voter here. These sensible solutions will make.
And that's why we're going to deliver on that promise and that commitment. We are going to deliver on it. As I said, we're just working through. We've had two things. One is that we've had to find the extra $1 billion we didn't plan on paying to get the $1.8 billion in place for Farm Act. I'd just suggest to you that would have been a problem if we hadn't funded that and made that a priority. And it's frustrating for everybody that we had to do that. But it's the right thing to have done to make sure that people have their core medicines in place. And the second thing is we are committed to making sure we get expanded cancer treatments to New Zealanders, as we talked about. It's just a question of how we do that. There's a number of options that we can look at there.
Before the budget announcement, I think Jenna did a story on this, and the answer was just wait for the budget, just wait for the budget. The budget happened, and then Nicola Willis, after that, in an interview with Rebecca Wright on our special, she couldn't even commit to it being in next year's budget. And so your guys' communication around when this is going to happen and the reasons why you haven't rolled this out, it's not necessarily being about money.
During the pre-budget, we were signalling pretty strongly to say, hey, listen, we've inherited a whole bunch of fiscal holes here in this budget, things that weren't known in haifu, which is when you build your financial plan before an election campaign. Having said that, we've worked our way through a whole bunch of fiscal cliffs and holes, whether it's school lunches, whether it's the Farm Act drugs, other things as well, other surprises that have happened along the way. And we had to make a priority decision to say, look, there is a need for us to put $1 billion into the Farm Act budget, which we've done. And that is the right thing to have done. But rest assured, we remain committed, and I get it. I understand this because I have spoken with people who are suffering with this. I have actually, been on those Give a Little pages that we've talked about that people are going through. Rest assured, work is underway. We've got a series of options that we're trying to progress, and it's about a process, but we are working as fast as we possibly can.
Why didn't you just say that at the time instead of... The communication's been quite vague about it, and now you're saying it's not necessarily the money's there, it's the procurement. How many of these 13 drugs are available now for you to go and procure? Because you said some of them are through...
Yeah, look, I think there's... I think there's
7?
about 8 that are actually registered in New Zealand.
So why
as I understand
you've announced that 8 in the budget?
No.
Cool, we've got 8, we can do it.
So what I'm saying to you, but what we're looking for is to make sure we've got a good process that we can procure the treatments and the support that New Zealanders need. I want to make sure we do that right. We get that set up in the right way, the most efficient way, rather than trying to do it in some rinky-dink way. There's a number of options that we've been talking about. And I rest assured, I get it. I really understand it, and I understand people's frustration about it. But if you can just give us a little bit of time, it's taking a bit longer than we anticipated. We need to get the process right so that we can actually make sure we've got an enduring supply of those treatments when available.
Some people don't have time. Like, for example, Eric messaged us saying, here's my GoFundMe page. And Amanda gets a lot of these because she does lots of health stories. He's running a fun run charity.
No, I get it.
Trying to get a $250,000. And these people don't have time. And I know that you just need a little more time. And you were talking in your rhetoric in the speech and stuff saying people who've got cancer don't have time.
Yeah, but Lloyd, I just say to you, and I fully get it, and I understand it because I've had friends in the same situation. Do you know what I mean? And I've supported my friends in those places, and I know exactly what they're going through, those families are going through, and it is really, really challenging and really difficult. We remain really committed to getting those 13 cancer treatments to New Zealanders. That commitment remains. But what I'm just saying to you is also we had to confront the fact that we were short in a Farm Act budget, which we never anticipated we would would be. And I just say, under Labor, they obviously weren't going to fund the Farm Act piece. There was no commitment to fund these 13 cancer treatments at all. We are really serious about cancer in New Zealand because we've made it one of our 5 big health goals. We want 90% of New Zealanders to have cancer treatment within 31 days of decision to treat. We've done a number of other things already in the first, 6 months that we actually have made sure that we've got a Linac machine in Whangarei. We've got infusion services sitting in, I think, Wairoa and also in Whakatane, in Wanganui that I visited. We've got a number of PET scanners up and down the South Island. We've expanded breast cancer screening. We've got a mobile breast cancer screening units. So we're doing a lot in that space because we want to step change cancer treatment. And I get it. But what I'm just saying to you is it's taking more time as we work out the process by which we can deliver on that commitment.
Can you give us a time frame, a goal? You've got outcomes and you're focused in that way.
Yeah, I hope we'll have
it. End of the year?
No, well, yes, absolutely. I mean, I'd like to go as fast as I possibly can. And rest assured, we know what the option set is. We're just trying to work out how we can deliver it in a way that actually makes sense. Okay,
very quickly, you're off to Fiji and Niue now.
Yeah.
So why are you going there?
Well, look, I mean, the Pacific's our family and it's our backyard and it's a part of the region that we feel really close to. And we've got very strong standing relationships there. Niue is actually celebrating its 50th year of independence and free association with New Zealand. It's a realm country. So it'll be the first time in a while I think a Prime Minister spent an overnight stay there, and I'm really looking forward to spending time there in Niue, and then obviously on to Fiji, which is a key partner in the Pacific as well. And there are obviously security and economic interests that we have in the relationship with Fiji. So really it's a chance to deepen our relationship. And a big part of our government has been wanting to step change the urgency and the intensity in our international relationships. Frankly, we had a foreign minister that sat on their hands for New Zealand here for 3 years, and we've been out and about in the world with Winston Peters, myself, Judith Collins and Todd McClay, wanting to raise the profile of New Zealand. That has huge trade benefits for us when 1 in 4 of our jobs are tied to trade, and people who work in companies that export have higher wages, but also we've got security challenges across the region with more geostrategic competition too.
I'll give you that. I mean, Winston Peters has travelled more in his time than Nanaia Mahuta did in those 6 years.
That's what you want a foreign minister doing. I want them on the plane.
They should be out of the country.
Absolutely.
No, I completely agree. Is it going to be awkward with Fiji given the Drua the reason that your beloved Crusaders are out?
Well, on one level, I'm pleased that we've avoided a diplomatic incident because it would have been, as much as I wanted the Drua to lose on the weekend so that the Crusaders could come through to those, to the playoffs. I think, the reality is we probably, it's a good thing that they managed to get through.
Yeah, it's the sacrifice that you can say.
Yeah, sacrifice that I've made as a Crusaders fan in the best interest of the country.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll have a good trip.
Excellent.
Niue is a little charming little place. I loved it when I went there.
Yeah, great. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. That is Prime Minister Christopher Luxon.